And when you started, how many realtors did you have and how many do you have now?
Oh gosh. When I started, I think we had about 195. Like we were just cresting 200. And now we have 1,500. So, I mean, we've had exceptional growth, but the industry itself has also grown exceptionally. Like, when I started managing, there were 30,000 real estate agents that belonged to the Toronto Real Estate Board. Now there's 70,000. So, I mean, we have had exceptional growth, but we've also, the industry itself has seen such a boom in the last decade.
Well, you just mentioned, so there's about 70,000 realtors in the Toronto Real Estate Board. I think the stat was, and I think I remember what, this is maybe 10 years ago, maybe some of that. The top 10% of agents make 90% of the income.
Correct.
That's still true to today.
Correct.
So what is it? Like, what makes the top 10? Was it our culture? Like, what are the attributes that make an agent in that top 10? Hey everybody, welcome. It's David Schnelly with the DC Talks podcast. I got a special guest with me today, the lovely Sam, I can't call you Samantha, Hewit.
Hi. I didn't know you called the podcast the DC Talks podcast.
That's right. You should take credit for that.
I think I'm going to.
So Sam, like for those who don't know, I'm not going to give the whole history. You can do that yourself. I love Sam. Sam is one of my most favorite people in the world. And you laugh at this every time I say this, but I give you a lot of credit for my success.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll kind of talk about that. But so Sam yourself, like now you can explain, you're in the management office at Royal Lepage Signature.
That's correct.
And you trained me.
I did. you baby realtor DC.
Fresh off the presses. I wasn't even fully licensed when I started, I think.
You weren't. Yeah, you really weren't. I remember, I think you started in December. You were.
Well, no, I got licensed in March. So we had talked in December.
Close.
Yeah. I was late to show your class because and then that's
right.
why. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
I finally got my full license, I think, and I was ready to run after a couple months after that. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You were, sometimes when you are teaching, rooms full of people over and over and over again in different cycles, you can, not all the time, but sometimes you can spot the stars. You were an early star right out of the gate.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah. Wow. Because if I told you, you would have gotten a big head. So
we can't have that.
No, I kept that to myself.
So Sam, so we explained your role and so what is your role at Signature now?
Great question. So it's definitely evolved over the years as our business has grown and evolved for sure. But my official title is the Director of Realtor Development, which is really just, a fancy way of saying my job is to help agents grow predictable, repeatable businesses. I used to spend a lot more of my time training the new agents like yourself when you came on board. And now we have, other managers who take care of more of the new agent program. And I spend more of my time with the mid-level and the top agents like yourself.
Oh, thanks. We appreciate that. Yeah, like having access to you really does help.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's one thing I loved about Signature too. You put together like-minded people, and it's at different levels. So we have 3 or 4 different levels, I think, at Signature. Yeah,
we do. That came very, very early on during our initial growth period. We actually had a top agent at the time. This is over 10 years ago now. And she came in one day and she said, all you guys really worry about is new people. And I feel like as an experienced agent, I'm getting lost in the shuffle. And she'd been with us a long time and she left. And our president, Chris, came in and was just dumbfounded. We hadn't lost a big agent ever. And he was like, we're doing something wrong. And I'm like, yeah, there's probably some stuff we're not doing well. And so we kind of sat down and figured out how we could structure things so that top agents could spend time with top agents. And, obviously the questions and the discussion is different if you're selling 5 houses a year versus 50. And so we, a light bulb moment a decade ago. And so we created our programs the way they are now. And to your point, we've spent really a lot of time trying to build a company that has like-minded people. Like yourself, people that we feel like have the same values and the same ethics and are really looking to make a career out of their practice. And so it's been really fun.
Yeah. We love it. So again, what the family, what they bring to us, it's hard to explain when somebody, whether a new agent or experienced agent, and we talked about this the other day, and I find out what other brokerages is. I don't know why. The first thing is why aren't you with us? And I explained, and it's I don't mean to. It's not like we make any money off of recruiting or any of that kind of stuff too. It's just our family is just so great. And I think that what you guys do is second to none. I really do.
Thank you.
Even though Royal Lepage Signature is the only office I've been, and I tell Chris, our president, I tell you every time I get recruited from somebody, I'm like, here's what's happening, and we just talk about it. And it's and it's good to have an open forum like that. I'm not going anywhere. I think Chris helped save my life, so I can't go anywhere. So
You're here for life.
Yeah.
You're a lifer now.
Yeah. Like I had somebody for Remax try to brought me to a golf tournament. I'm like, he goes, so what has Signature done for you lately? I'm like, well, Chris set me up with a neurosurgeon that saved my life. So what do you have?
Yeah. Beat that.
Beat that, buddy. So, and again, I think one of the greatest aspects is for yourself and some of the other management staff is that we're not just bringing managerial staff in who've never sold a house before.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
matters.
Like you were a top agent before you became management. Like, how was that experience? How was the transition and how did you start?
Yeah. I mean, I think at the time I probably had hit a bit of burnout. It's this business, this industry is so fascinating because I think consumers have a very different perspective on what it actually is. It really is one of these businesses where like, it's you are your brand. You're on 24/7. You go to a kid's birthday party and you're thinking, I wonder if anyone here is going to list their house. And
it drives your partner crazy, by the way.
It does. It does. It totally drives your partner crazy. And
Did you mention that I'm a realtor? Dave, come on. Like everybody knows you're. I'm like, I'm just making sure. Just making sure.
In case you forgot today, Nat.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I'd kind of hit this period of burnout and I just had lost a lot of like the zest for the business. And I've always really liked our industry. It's really sort of all I've ever done. And I've always had a passion for teaching. And, I believe in mentorship so strongly. I had great mentors when I started. And so I went into our president and said, like, I think I'm going to quit. And he was like, and I was like, I'm actually quite serious. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? This is all you've done. What are you going to do? And I'm like, I haven't really kind of thought about that yet. And so we came up with some different ideas of things that, they were looking for at the brokerage. And one of them was this training program that you participated in. I wrote that curriculum and sort of developed this like how to get going quickly because still isn't, but especially at the time when I started, almost 13 years ago now, there was no, sort of formal training program. People largely got out of the courses and it was like, okay, good luck. And you're kind of swimming aimlessly. So that was sort of the start for me. And I found really quite a passion for leadership. I think I've always had a passion for leadership, but it was never called that when we were kids. Like it was like, oh,
you're the bossy one.
Sam's so bossy. Yeah. Sam's so bossy.
Hated that word.
I really do too. I still hate it for sure. But for me, I think it was just, I was looking to do something else. And this was such a great fit culturally. And we've really been able to build something that I'm really proud of. So it's been a great journey.
And when you started, how many realtors did you have and how many do you have now?
Oh gosh. When I started, I think we had about 195, like we were just cresting 200. And now we have 1,500. So, I mean, we've had exceptional growth, but the industry itself has also grown exceptionally. Like, when I started managing, there were 30,000 real estate agents that belonged to the Toronto Real Estate Board. Now there's 70,000. So, I mean, we have had exceptional growth, but we've also, the industry itself has seen such a boom in the last decade.
Well, you just mentioned, so there's about 70,000 realtors in the Toronto Real Estate Board. I think the stat was, and I think I remember maybe 10 years ago, maybe some of that. The top 10% of agents make 90% of the income.
Correct.
That's still true to today.
Correct.
So what is it? Like, what makes the top 10? Was it our culture? Like, what are the attributes that make an agent in that top 10?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think, as I mentioned before, I think what this business really is about is quite different than what people think it's about. I think you were on an HGTV show, so I mean, it looks glittery and exciting. And the reality is it's a business where you spend most of your time alone. You're sitting at your dining room table or your home office, if you have enough real estate at home to have one of those. And, you're really kind of grinding it out. You're trying to find business. You're hustling every day. And I think what really separates the agents that are super successful from the ones that aren't is a focus really on consistency and on execution. Mm-hmm. This business has changed a lot in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, even when I started, makes you sound like a dinosaur, 22 years ago, there was no social media. We weren't making podcasts or videos. That wasn't a thing. But the
actually, Michael Uzos talks about it with his dad, who's still active. And he's like, Dad, his dad's a realtor. So Michael Uzos is a good friend of mine. We joined the brokerage. And he's like, Dad, I'm doing a podcast. His dad's like, what's that?
Yeah.
his dad's still selling, and it's funny. But anyway, sorry about
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true though, right? Because really the idea of your podcast is so you can get in front of people and people can hear you and you're positioned as an expert. But, 20 years ago, we weren't doing that. We were doing open houses and door knocking and talking to people at the local coffee shop downstairs. So, I think that the fundamentals, some of the tools we use have changed, but the fundamentals haven't. And I think the agents that are the most successful understand how to be consistent with what really matters, which is ultimately getting face-to-face with people and building relationships.
Yeah. I also find it's a character trait as well. I think we're like successful agents are very highly competitive, hence
Correct.
our Peloton group and running groups. And Sam is an active, very, very active Pelotoner with us as groups. Like you, myself, and Chris started the group together.
We did, yes, which is why you get more leeway on your language in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, go figure, right? So I'm allowed to. Yeah, I know. And sometimes if people don't get that language, I guess they don't.
Yes, they don't. They don't always.
They don't understand it. Anyway, but I find it's a very competitive market. You are alone and by yourself, and and if you're competitive, it gives you that advantage. I think it also stings a little bit when you don't get to the goals you want to do, but also pushes us a little bit harder. Of course. But I guess you're right. I think people join real estate thinking it's all glam and it's easy. That's the hard part. I think it's easy, and it's, as you know, it's not. But there's also, like, we talk about this, the hustle culture.
Yes.
The hustle culture and what you're seeing on social media. Like, for people that don't know what this hustle culture, especially for realtors, I'll let you explain it and how it's affected us. We talked about this on length many times, but so what do you consider hustle culture and especially for realtors?
Yeah, I think for realtors, it really is this idea that, like, you're always looking for business, right? You're always looking for leads. There's not a lot of, like, off time. Everywhere you are, you're kind of thinking about it. Every person you meet is sort of in your mind, this conversation of, like, will they be moving soon? Will they refer me? Can I add them to my database? I think this idea of the hustle culture is, like, you always got to be grinding and working and doing and achieving. And I think it's really challenging for us as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, as realtors. It's super dangerous, I think, because it gets overwhelming and it makes us feel bad a little bit. And I don't think social media helps because there's so much of this comparison game to it. I had a top agent who came in last week to see me, very successful woman working in a specific geographic farm area. And she came in and she said, there's this other woman who is living in my neighborhood who's, posting on social and getting really busy. And, she's so successful, like, I'm getting nervous she's going to take market share from me. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And she's like, yeah, she's doing so well. And so I went onto our stats system and I looked up, this woman's she'd done one deal last year. And here's my, top agent who's killing it, who's freaking out because she's comparing what she's seeing on social media to something that's not reality. And so I think this whole concept of, like, hustle culture is just, you've always got to be doing. And for us as agents, there's always this kind of, challenge around, well, what happens if I want to go on vacation?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell my clients, like,
yeah. But we also, how many times we go on vacation, we get busier right before you leave?
Of course we do.
Always.
Of course.
And I can't even tell you how many deals I go, like, we're going away soon. And I was like, I said to my clients, I'm leaving, but every time I go away, I get a couple of deals.
Are you going to tell people you're going away?
Oh,
now?
yeah.
You are. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I also have, Julia can help me. I have Ariana that helps me. I have Elise. I have a team that helps. I also have, good friends like Chris Kukoc and Marnie Peterson and stuff that can help me back. Like, so we've set up throughout the years a system when I'm away. But now with the digital age, I'm like, literally, when I went away in Aruba 3 years ago, right before the HGTV show went live, before the world shut down, I think I did 2 or 3 deals in 10 days in Aruba. Mm-hmm. And Chris went to show the properties, came back, they already saw a couple of properties, and I put the deal together. I was on the phone, done. That doesn't change, right? Like, I still say I'm the point two person.
Right.
And now they don't even know I'm not here. Like, I do deals with agents I never meet anymore, which is hilarious in the sense that when you train me, they're like, I don't give a shit what you're doing. You have an offer. You present that motherfucker in person. Do you remember that story?
Yes.
You present that shit in person. And we're all like, what? And they're like, Sam, come on. And they're like, Dave, present it. And then we started. That got me tons of deals in the beginning. Now, if you show up to a door, no one's answering the door. They're wearing masks, gloves. Even to this day, they're like, oh, no, just email. And the paperwork's much cleaner and everything now. But it's even that shift has changed too.
Very much. I think going back to the hustle culture, though, you just illustrated that point so nicely, right? You don't stop because you're on vacation.
No.
And that's part of, I think, where this difficulty comes in as realtors. That's what makes this industry so difficult.
But you have to set a parameter. So first off,
sure,
the hustle culture for me started, and with my good coach, which I will mention his name, was no longer my coach. Yeah. But he always instilled in us. He's like, you work for 11 weeks, you take 2 weeks off, bake in those 2 weeks. He goes, otherwise you will burn out. So it gives us something to look forward to. So the vacation allows us to look forward to something. So, and it keeps you like going and motivated, although COVID didn't help with all that. But anyway, it keeps you motivated. And also when we're away, you also set boundaries. That's the other thing. We have to, the hustle culture, you can burn out if you don't set boundaries. Right. And while I'm there, Natalie and the kids know sometimes they're there. I'm like, okay, between 10 and 11, I might have my computer with me. I'll do a couple of deals and then I turn it off. Mm-hmm. So my clients know, unless it's something urgent, my phone's on. But
now, has it been like that for you the whole way through though? Like even when you were building your business, was there a certain point before your team that you were like, ugh, I don't want to go on holiday. I don't want to tell people I'm away.
Yeah, I still don't tell people I'm away. Like unless it's my clients, I don't show it on social. Like I'll show on social media after I'm away, but while I'm away, like you won't know when I'm away because I pre-record all my stuff. I make sure my assistants post everything, and that was happening the last couple of times. But in the beginning, I was a little scared because, but what I realized early was that my clients are human. I said, listen, I'm grinding. I'm like, I have, as long as you had a backup, you weren't just leaving them high and dry. So I'm like, so I had at least 2 or 3 backups always. That helped, right? So that really did help. And we really only started going to vacation, I think, after the first couple of years in the business would have already somewhat established, and I had good relationships.
Yeah. It's just such a unique concept to being an entrepreneur, right? I mean, if we were teachers, you go on vacation, you put on out of office, and you post your story from the airport being like, woo,
drink in hand, ready to go. Right. Yeah, I know.
We don't do that as realtors. We post the vacation afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting conversation, I think.
It's totally. But in the beginning, I did feel guilty a little bit about it. But I was like, but when you have the systems, everything now that we're all accessible, it's not as problem. So, but the other thing is like, I also don't subscribe to the idea of us being entrepreneurs, like totally turning off your phone because, we're usually gone.
Don't. Okay.
No, I don't mean at night. Okay. At night, my phone goes off at 10:30. So if you're trying, unless it's something emergent, like which we talked about before.
No wonder you don't get up at 6 a.m. for Spin Club. You go to bed at 10:30?
Yeah.
That's so late.
I get up at 6:15.
Okay.
Well, because that works for me. I tried going to bed at 9. I'm too busy working deals. I can't, I don't have a cushy job like you do.
You're such a jerk. I knew you were going to say that.
But no, so sometimes it's like literally, so I found it what worked for me for 6 a.m. And listen, my morning routine. You can't
I know.
My morning routine.
We all know your morning routine. You do not need to repeat it on the podcast. I know why you cannot spin at 6 a.m.
Exactly. So anyway, so there's certain things I need to do before I go on the spin class. Anyway, 7 o'clock, I'm down, anyway, but
too late for me.
So yeah, my phone goes off at 10:30 and sometimes messages, and I'm up at sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes at 5:30 anyway, and I'm on my phone, and I'm like, if it's emergent, if it's something that it's emergency, I'll answer right away, right? But most of the time, it's if there is an emergency that's happening, I'm on the phone until 2 a.m. in the morning. That's off anyway, and that's happened a few times, right?
Of course.
But that took some time too, because up until a few years ago, my phone was on all the time. I never even turned my ringer off. So I was getting phone calls at 11:30 at night, and my clients knew that I was, and if you're my client, I answer you within the first ring. If you text message, I'm 30 seconds. They're like, it's like a joke. I'm like, well, the way that my ADD works, if I don't message you right away, I sometimes forget. So like, I don't want to forget about you, and I want to show you're important to me. But it's hard to turn off.
Part of the hustle.
Yeah. But do you also find that that's a huge strain on a lot of relationships?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I mean, this is, let's be honest, we're married to our jobs. Like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be a realtor. This is just that funny meme with, do you ever watch, which show is that? Modern Family, when we're in the show, Phil's the realtor, and he's like, let's talk about the love of my life. Residential real estate. But it's true. We really are kind of married to our jobs, and it puts a lot of pressure on our families and our partners because, to your point, the phone rings, you go. And I think the world has changed a lot and real estate's changed a lot. Again, when I was trading, there was no DocuSign. Electronic signatures weren't legal. And so I was all over that. I mean, I was at people's weddings and I was in hospitals and I was like, hi, sorry. I know it's the baptism, but I just need like a quick signature right here on this. There was no, you literally were chasing people around. Like it was crazy the places I had been to in my time. So I think the business has changed a lot with a little bit of advancement of technology for sure. But
sorry, I just got an image of you going in like a first baptism, taking a swig of the wine and just like you're giving a high five to the priest and say, we just got a deal. Woo!
Father, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Just one quick minute here. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I can see it. But, I think over COVID too, we were talking about mental health and relationships and people breaking up. Like we've had a number of our close friends got divorced during COVID or post-COVID.
We have. Yeah. It's funny. It's kind of like COVID babies and COVID divorces. Yeah. Like you come out of like the other side and you're like, so how'd you fare?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, you're still together. We didn't see that one happening.
We didn't, yeah. Some of our friends are still together. Maybe they shouldn't be.
Yeah, because I find that too. It's just it was just an eye opener, especially even like recently too. We're like, holy shit, that person's like split up. It's like, and there's the after effects, and it's. I think that's a part of the business people don't know about us, right? And that's hence one of my goals this year was to teach people what really happens in real estate, and this is kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff that people don't think. They think it's glamorous. It's like you drive nice cars, wear nice clothes. And it's like. Yeah, but you're tired all the time.
All the time.
All the time. My mind never stops thinking. You guys I don't know if you guys know what Sam does, but Sam also has an assistant. But the shit that you guys come up with now to make sure everyone's engaged. And like, if you look at my social media, like the stuff from Signature, like we're constantly getting stuff from you, pumping out from us, making sure the agents are staying engaged and they're staying, top of mind. Like that's obviously it's a full-time job, but even your assistant must have
it's like we run like a marketing company. That's not really like my full-time job. My full-time job is coaching and training agents. And then we also happen to run a marketing company with monthly social media content. I mean, I think for us at Signature, I think one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is like, we are constantly looking for new solutions and new ways to provide value to our agents. We're really constantly always trying to figure out like, what's the problem you have right now and how can we help you figure that out? Ideally, we have everything you need that all you really have to do is go find clients and put deals together, and everything else we can take care of for you. Which sounds like a tall order. But it's really, it's pretty special to be part of a group of people that are that committed. We are committed. Yeah. But like you, it's a hustle, right? I mean, you make fun of me for my cushy job, definitely. But, I'm at home post kid bedtime, like pounding out content, checking, proofing this, looking at that. What's the week look like? Okay, where are we going? What event do we have? Who's going where?
You also said something the other day. It was one of our lives. So the other thing Sam does is twice a week you're on, at least twice a week you're on Zoom with the rest.
Twice a week I host a Zoom show.
Zoom with Chris, with our president, and it's like wow, like that's committed. And you said something too by Sunday. If you don't, I've talked about scheduling since the cows come home. Like one of the biggest issues that people get into entrepreneurship or they're getting into become a realtor is that I can pick my own hours. I can do what I want when I want.
Sure you can.
Sure you can. Yeah. Your hours are 2 a.m. till 2 a.m. So go for it. Anyway, that's your hours. Like, let's be real. You said something the other day. It was like, and if you follow me on social media, you'll know that by Sunday, if I don't have my schedule set, you're lost.
Oh yeah. Sunday's a huge day in my life. Sunday's big. If I don't have the same structure to Sunday, my whole week is thrown off. So.
And you're technically an employee, right?
Sure. Yeah, kind of.
Owner, technical, whatever you are. Like, but I'm saying, but sure. You have like, what I'm saying, you're not technically, you work for a company. So that's what I mean. You're technically like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
My role is kind of unique in who I am and what I do.
And yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I mean? You and your cushy job, you have
very cushy. But 9 to 1, I have a liquid lunch, come back at 3. Yeah, no. So on Sundays, it sounds so nerdy when people ask me because I'm like, oh God, it sounds like such a geek. But on Sundays, I have this very structured system that I follow, and I don't have like a checklist, although I'm thinking of getting one. But Sunday is kind of that like reset day for me. And I say this to our team. I talk about it on Zoom a lot with my show that I host, where I tell people like, it doesn't have to be Sunday. It can be any day you want, but you got to kind of carve out a part of your week where you're able to kind of think about what you're trying to accomplish instead of just going all of the time. And for me, that's Sunday. So on Sunday, I do, some personal stuff. Like I do a long workout. I do weights. I ride the Peloton. I journal, write out my gratitudes, which I mostly do every morning. And then from there, I go downstairs and I start in the kitchen and I like go through my fridge and write out my grocery list. And
wow. I didn't realize it went that deep.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I have my computer open on my kitchen table and then I look at, okay, what's going on this week? Where are my kids going? What do I have event-wise? Work dinners, podcasts, running kind of all over the place. What's my kids' schedule? When do they have dance and soccer? And it's skating day and it's a PA day. Shit, forgot about that. Like I sort of figure out what the week looks like, what content I have on my show. And then I go to the kitchen and I look at, okay, I clean out the fridge. I write out the grocery list. I figure out what days we need to have dinner, snacks, stuff for my kids.
Isn't dinner every night? I'm joking.
No, well, I don't cook. So, I mean, dinner is every night, but I don't have to make it. So I have to figure out, what that looks like. So it's not every night, smarty.
No, we don't do it. The funny thing is with 2 entrepreneurs in our house.
Yeah, it must be crazy there. How often are you having pizza every week?
Oh, some days we like last week, I had dinners almost every night. It was crazy. But the other weeks it's something all of a sudden now what are you cooking? She's like, what are you cooking? For the first 3-4 years of our marriage, I did all the cooking, right? And
you did.
Yeah. And I got sick of it.
Zero.
No, now I do more than 50%. Yeah. But I force her. She hates cooking. But anyway, sometimes we'll sit on the couch. Yeah. I'm like, what are you cooking? She's like, what the fuck are you cooking? I'm like, we look at each other. We're staring. What are the kids want? And it's almost like a grind. And it's like,
it is a grind.
It just, some
What's
days
for dinner is brutal.
And she's like, I don't feel like cooking. Some days it turns out when I know when she's tired, but I'll ask her what she's cooking because I know her answer's going to be takeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takeout. What are you cooking?
Yeah. We try to do that at least
Uber
once a
Eats.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even the kids enjoy that too, right?
Of course they do. Yeah. Of course. So yeah, I figure out what the week looks like and then I go through my stuff, I call it. So, my notebooks, I go through all of my text messages. I look through all my emails. I make sure I haven't forgotten anybody. Like you said, you have to respond right away or you forget. Sometimes I open a message and then I forget. And then
you've done that to me a number of times. Yeah,
no doubt. Everyone listening that works for us, they're like, oh, she does that to me all the time. But I try to catch up on Sunday and then I plan out the week. What do we have going on? And then everybody gets an email. So the president gets an email, the vice president gets an email. My content team gets emails. My assistant gets an email. Everyone has sort of this is a snapshot of the week. This is what we have going on. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. This person's going here. Mm-hmm. So that when you start Monday, you're not walking in thinking, what does this look like? Yeah. Everyone's, we're going, we're moving.
Well, the funny thing, I joke about it too, but you're an ultra entrepreneur, even in the role you're in now. So I love the fact that, so a lot of our listeners aren't realtors. So they're if some people have been thinking about either being a realtor or being an entrepreneur, it's always good to see somebody else's perspective besides my own. Okay. As we're, basically going to be wrapping up fairly soon. If somebody is looking to to be a realtor or an entrepreneur, let's do entrepreneurship, including realtors too. Before they start their journey, is there 1 or 2 things you would say to them?
Yeah, definitely. I think the number one thing is really just making sure financially you're good for a while because there's no, realtors are commission salespeople. So there's no salary, there's no draw, there's no nothing. Same thing with most entrepreneurs. I think number one, having a really clear handle on your finances and knowing how long you can go without a paycheck critical. And I think the second thing is just this concept of really understanding what the business is about. I mean, you joked earlier, people come in and they're like, oh, I get to make my own schedule. That's a total farce. Yeah. You don't make your own schedule. Your clients largely make your schedule until you've grown your business to the point that you feel comfortable saying, I'm not available at that time, which takes time because you're always worried you're going to lose the client, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's true for any business you're in. And the third, so I think really knowing what the business is about, spending time with people in it, doing some shadowing if you can, I think is going to be super critical. And number 3, I think is just time. I mean, we have some, like yourself, every once in a while you get, a rock star in year 1 that kills it. The average agent in their first year does a couple deals. They might do 2. They might do 3.
They might do none.
They might do 0. They might do a whole bunch of leases. They might run around like crazy, and it might take them 6 months to kind of understand this is a sales job and you got to call people and ask for business, which not everyone's comfortable with. Which kind of goes back to my earlier point of really understanding what the business that you're going to enter is about. I think giving yourself the time is critical because it takes longer than people think to become successful in this business. It takes longer for people to trust you than you would imagine. And so I think just understanding it's going to be a couple years until you really feel like you have a handle on it and that you're going to then start to grow exponentially. That's my best advice, I think, for people. Like, be secure financially, understand what the business is really about, and give yourself some time.
And maybe one more selfish question selfish for us as Royal Lepage. Like, I think we're the best, but in one sentence,
I think we're the best.
Yeah. And why would, if somebody's just getting their license, and what would you see for me, I know what the critical thing was for me joining Royal Lepage Signature besides having the backup, but what do you think would be the number one reason you can just say to somebody in one sentence, like, why is Royal Lepage the best as opposed to like a Remax or other Royal Lepage offices? Like, why is Signature the best?
I think for us at Royal Lepage Signature, we believe that you should build a business of your own, just not on your own. And so I want you to be as successful as you possibly can, but I don't want you to have to do it by yourself because I already know how to get there. I know what you need to do to get there.
Love it.
I have all the tools and resources you need to get there. Why not do it the easy way instead of trying to grind it out by yourself in an office that offers nothing?
It's so true. Yeah, I always laugh when people in the beginning they're talking, well, this person's offering me this split or this split. I'm like, great. What are you getting for this split? Because if you get no deals, 100% of zero is still zero.
Still zero. I think, you get what you pay for sure. And I think, for us as an organization, we really believe in value. And I don't think we're the most expensive game out there either. But we believe in value. And I think that's the difference we make. And I also think we have built a culture and an organization where I think we're the real deal. I'm not going to tell you what to do and not do it myself. You're not on that Peloton by yourself. I'm there with you.
Sometimes I am.
Yeah, because you ride at 7 and I'm done.
Well, I work out first, then I ride. But anyway,
yes, exactly.
When so moving forward, we're just going to wrap up here. If somebody wants to become a realtor and wants to join Royal Lepage, what's the best way for them to contact Royal Lepage?
Yeah, you can follow me on social. I'm Sam Hewit. You can send me a DM, set up a call.
You have to spell your name too, because they'll like.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because
I always forget.
Yeah.
Okay, so my handle, which you'll put in the show notes, I'm sure, is at.
That's what the guys.
That's what the guys are here. These lovely team of gentlemen who are doing an awesome job. My handle is at Sam SAM _ Hewit HEWIT 1T _ in my Instagram bio is my booking link for you to book a call with me.
That's awesome. Becomes convenient.
Very convenient. Some smart person did that for me. It wasn't me. Someone on my team thought that was a good idea. I was like, sure.
Yeah. And guys, if you enjoy this content, we always say, like and subscribe because we always like to have subscribers. But I also like to reach out and say, if you want to get in touch with me, they can always reach out to my Instagram, ask me for questions. There, maybe another realtor you want me to interview or somebody else. I always like to have some feedback. You can always email me at dchinelli@royallepage.ca, of course. So thanks again, Sam, for coming by the DC headquarters. And we really appreciate having you.
Yeah. Thanks, DC.
Okay. Bye for now. Ciao.